He's one of the best lefties in the game, and what a season Christopher Sanchez is having for the Phils. A Cy Young season thus far, and you'll see him on the mound facing the NL East rival New York Mets. It's Mets and Phils on Baseball Night in America. Homered for the Cubs. Oh, thank you. That helps. Thanks a lot. Sid's everywhere.
Everyone has a plan, a dream, a destiny. But baseball doesn't care about expectations. In Philly, a season once slipping away has become a surge into contention.
Belted, deep right field, and it's long, gone for Harper!
While the high-priced Mets roster is still searching for the magic.
Gone! Juan Soto goes deep!
Meanwhile, the Guardians are making it clear they belong, while Yordan Alvarez and the Astros are proving they never left. The margins are thin, and the pressure is rising. It's Baseball Night in America on Fox.
Well, the Mets are trying to work their way up in the division, and they'll put Freddie Peralta on the mound today against the Phils lineup. The Mets have won 12 of their last 20, and they'll tangle again after having last night off. Meanwhile, some of you will see Cleveland in Houston. There's Jeremy Pena and also Yordan Alvarez, by the way, working on a Triple Crown season. Worth keeping an eye on for Cleveland and the Astros. Welcome to the Baseball Night in America pregame show presented by Geico. From Philadelphia, we're on the scene to catch this one. The Mets and the Phils on a breezy night. Clouds coming in. Dontrell Willis, I'm Chris Spires. Thanks for tuning in. And nice to have the manager of the Phils joining us a few minutes away from game time, Don Mattingly. Don, it's great to see you.
Chris, good to see you.
And how about it? From 9-19, you have this team in a wild card position. Second best record in baseball during that time other than Milwaukee, other than you, Don, and I know you're modest. What's been the key ingredient for this Philly team? Where would you start as to what has pushed this team this far?
I would start with our starting rotation. Those guys have settled in for the most part, been consistent every time out, allowed us to put our bullpen in spots we want to put them in, taking pressure off our offense early. We started to score some runs, so now everything seems to be going somewhat in the right direction.
You know, we talk about the rotation. Christopher Sanchez is one of the best arms in all of baseball. We know about the scoreless streak, but I'm more impressed that he's only given up 6 runs in this ballpark. I've had plenty of nightmares as a fish pitching in this ballpark. What is it about him? We know the stuff is elite. What is it about him as far as the mental makeup that makes him one of the best pitchers in baseball?
Well, he's ultra competitive. He's got that little calm, clean kind of outlook, but he is a competitor. I think his stuff, the way it works, I think it works in any ballpark. He loves pitching here in front of the home crowd, but everything kind of funnels in different directions right out of the same window, which makes him tough.
First father-son duo, a general manager and active manager with your son, Presley. And I know Dave Dombrowski, he's a wheeler and dealer. That trade deadline, August 3rd. I'm sure with your son, you have a little extra influence. Can you give us some insight on where you might be going if you want to help this team make a further push with some personnel or some trades?
Well, I wish
I'm in trouble now.
Yeah, I wish I had impact in that. But you know, the way I've always looked at the trade deadline is I like our club just the way it is. Because any time that we talk about bringing somebody in, that means that we don't like the guy that we have. I like all our guys, and I think we can win just the way we are.
This is a veteran-led club, a battle-tested club. Is there a sense of urgency because they're getting older in age? And there's an expectation in his organization and his city about winning world championships or bust. Do you feel that in his locker room right now?
I don't feel like a total sense of urgency. I think we want to feel some sort of urgency with the way we play because you never know how a season goes. So you should feel urgency all the time. We are getting a little older, so it is something
I got my grades coming in, so I get it.
I think it is a situation that you should be feeling urgent.
Yeah, speaking of older here, I know you. Is it true you were kind of like ready to step away? You're added to the staff, and now you're managing. Is there something that could change that if this team goes on a deeper run? Have you been refreshed as a manager or just a guy active in baseball?
Well, I thought last year was going to be my last year. Honestly, Dave called after the season. It felt like there was a need and a place for me here. So, you know, I came back from there. I'm happy where I'm at. I love working with Preston. I like this club. It's been fun being in Philadelphia. So you just kind of go one day at a time and keep going.
All right, well, thanks for stopping by. Happy Father's Day, too, by the way.
Always a pleasure, Skip. Good to see you,
brother. Good luck the rest of the way. We really appreciate it. All right, Don Trell, let's check out some highlights before we send you out to the ballpark. Couple of division leaders in the NL. Brewers and Braves at ninth inning, bottom of the ninth. Ozzie Albies is up there.
Albies is healthy along with Olsen as well. That's why they're at the top of the division, getting their foot down. And, man, some Apple Taco power, General. Wow.
Fourth career walk-off, and it was Chris Sale who got the start. Braves doing some work there after taking on the Miz in Milwaukee the night before. All right, Reds, Yankees. Spencer Steer with a 3-run shot, and the rookie for the Reds, Sal Stewart, had a 6 RBI game to beat the Yanks.
Sal Stewart, Mr. Miami, and he dropped 15 hits on the Yankees. You don't see that every day.
Meanwhile, the Rays, who are chasing the Yankees with the Nationals in town, Nasim Nunez will drive this into the corner, and the Nationals have the lead at the moment, and they're hanging on to that 4-3 lead as they play late in the game. White Sox, Tigers. Dylan Dingler making a bid maybe for an all-star appearance. Launches this for his 17th homer of the year.
Free crazy bread for everybody in Motown, General. He went to big man land on a line. You got to be a strong individual to do that.
Couple of hits in the Tigers win as the Scooble trade talk going to continue toward the deadline. Blue Jays, Cubs. Kazuma Okamoto, who leads the team in homers, a 3-run shot, his 16th. The Blue Jays win. PCA had a homer for the Cubs.
He has been absolutely huge. Vlad Jr. is still trying to find his power stroke, but he has been consistent all year long in that lineup.
Moments ago, Texas hosting the Padres. Manny Machado up there. This offense struggling, but not here.
Gotta get him going, man. They're still on the fringe of that postseason. They get him going, man. That's a totally different ball club.
What a win for the Padres, and boy, they needed it in 10. Giants, Marlins, and Alberto Hernandez of Matt Gage for a 2-run shot, his 7th of the season. The Marlins with a 6-3 advantage.
The Fighting Fish, you better respect it in South Florida. Probably those young bulls down there. Fish party all night long.
All right, and we'll continue with the games coming your way. Jose Altuve and the Astros, who have won 3 in a row. He had a 3-run homer, go-ahead 3-run shot of the opener of the series with Cleveland. And Cleveland hanging in there in that Central Division race at the moment, a wild card team. And Bo Bichette helping the Mets, hoping that they can work their way up in the National League East as the Phillies try and hang on to a wild card spot. Baseball Night in America coming right up.
They ask me.
Just a couple of weeks away from celebrating our nation's 250th here in the birthplace of our country. We're in Philadelphia for Baseball Night in America. It's the Phillies and the New York Mets. Inside Citizens Bank Park, the Phillies have cranked things up after that slow start, and Juan Soto and the Mets still hanging on. They won the first game of this series 6-4 on Thursday night, an off day yesterday. The World Cup going here in Philadelphia. We welcome you inside. Hope you're having a great weekend. The Hall of Famer John Smoltz, I'm Joe Davis. So the Phillies have one of the best records in baseball since the manager change, and I'm trying to figure this out because you look and it's like, wow, they're really rolling, but then you dig deeper and they're doing this without the offense doing much yet.
Yeah, they really are built for their offense and power and scoring runs. Well, they don't score many runs on the road, or at least they haven't. At home, they've been much better. And when they score 4 more runs, their record is much better. They do slug. Their average is down. They do swing and miss a little bit too much. But Turner and the rest of the gang feel like they have what it takes. If their starting rotation, all they have to do is help their starters, and they're going to be good to go.
As far as the Mets go, it's been a rough season, but they've kept hopes alive. Juan Soto has been awesome all year, and lately Bo Bichette has been just as good.
He has been the big prize, right? We all talk about Soto. He's great. He's having a great run already, but Bo is getting hot, and the Mets are not out of it. Look, this has been a high expectation, but low results, and their starting staff has not been as good. Offensively, if they can score a little bit more. They're down in all the rankings. That's going to help propel them, and who knows, maybe keep their team together.
And they're going to have as hard of a test as there is today. Christopher Sanchez having an historic season for the Phillies. The opening day starter for the Mets, Freddie Peralta, counters for New York on Baseball Night in America, and a perfect summer night here in this great city of Philadelphia. We've got first pitch coming up on Fox.
So on this first one.
A rainbow, some pop-up showers in the area. Should be good right here, though, at Citizens Bank Park for Game 2 in this 3-game series between the New York Mets and the Philadelphia Phillies. And it is Christopher Sanchez going for the Phils in this game against Freddie Peralta for the New York Mets. The lineup for the Mets here in Game 2 as they try to make it 3 consecutive wins will look like this. Carson Benj, the rookie, leads off, and then Bo Bichette, one of the hottest hitters in baseball. Juan Soto leading the National League and on-base plus slugging in his second season with the Mets. 2 home runs in the first game on Thursday. Marcus Semien has started to heat up. The Mets second baseman bats cleanup. Eric Waggaman had a base hit on Thursday that helped him in that 7th inning rally. Francisco Alvarez DHs. Vientos at first. Luis Torrens does the catching, and Zach Short, whose days with the Mets probably numbered with Francisco Lindor coming back. But what a treat it is to get to watch this guy. 1.82 ERA, 116 strikeouts to only 19 walks, and of course that 50-inning scoreless streak earlier.
Yeah, he's having a marvelous season, and look, when you have the kind of weapons he has in that changeup, you see all the stats. This is what the breakdown of his pitches, but he throws a lot of pitches down, and he get a lot of hitters to swing and miss at that changeup. And when you want to see him be successful, it's going to be down in the zone. Can he throw the ball up? Yeah, but he wants the eyes of the hitter looking down so that that change of speed that comes out of his hand that the hitter doesn't recognize, they have no chance of staying off that pitch. So you see that wave of green down to the lower part of the strike zone. If he's going to be successful, it's going to be there. The wind is going to have a major impact on balls that are up to left field and center field. So when you see a wind like that, Joe, as a pitcher, you don't want anybody getting cheap ones down the right field line where that wind is blowing out.
So the defense behind Christopher Sanchez here tonight. Marsh is in left field. Justin Crawford, who can really go get it in center field. Rincones, his first couple of weeks in the big leagues, he's in right. Bowman Turner on the left side. Stott and Harper on the right side. And JT Realmuto does the catching for Sanchez, who was not quite as good as last time out. Sunday against Milwaukee, gave up 4 runs in that game, gave up 2 home runs. He said just everything felt a little bit off.
Well, I can only tell you, I've never been through a streak like his, but I can imagine when you're in that and you get out of it, you have a little bit of a shock to your system. And let's face it, look, he's also pitching for something else. He knows where the All-Star game is. And you have a lot of pride as a pitcher. You want to pitch and start in your home ballpark. So these next couple starts, they might get a little wonky for him because you think differently because the All-Star game is right around the corner. I know for me, ironically, in '96, the All-Star game was in Philadelphia. I had won 14 in a row. And I lost my last 3 going into the All-Star break. And there was some part of that where like, man, just get me to the break so I can get a reset.
Carson Benj stands in. We're ready to go. Sanchez fires. And a foul ball on the first pitch. Strike 1. No, Benj, 295 since moving into the leadoff spot in early May. 23-year-old rookie. It's been good defense, good speed on the bases since he came up. They were patient with the bat, and that really has emerged since they moved him up there a little more than a month ago. You got Francisco Lindor coming back, and we were talking with Carlos Mendoza before the game, and he said he's got some conversations to have. He didn't tell us exactly what the plan was going to be, but some decisions to make, some conversations to have about how to structure that lineup.
There's that slider against left-handers. He has owned left-handed hitters, and if you're an opposing lineup, you're not going to put him any favors by putting as many left-handers in there because he has just shut them down. And so we know about the changeup against righties, but his ability to limit contact against left-handed batters is just as high.
Shows you what the Mets think of Carson Benj, the only left-hander in there against Sanchez tonight. Lefty's hitting just 146 against him.
Yeah, and virtually no chance with 2 strikes, which is what he's got. He works ahead. Now, it's a little bit different than what Peralta on the other side is going to be doing, but when he works ahead, he can pitch deep into the game and get a lot of soft contact on the ground.
6 2/3 innings on average for him. That's best in baseball. Benj has worked it full. The Mets have always given Sanchez a hard time, even recently as he's emerged into one of the top guys in baseball. Last year he had a 6 ERA against New York. Very good changeup hitting team. Benj leading off this game, and he's down on a sinker.
I would think that the Mets are going to be especially aggressive early in the count against Sanchez. You see that sinker that just kind of stays in the strike zone, but under the barrel of the bat. The Mets are one of the best teams on first pitch average wise, and I think for a guy who throws a lot of strikes like Sanchez, I would think these next couple hitters, well, Soto, but Bichette will be ready to swing.
Yeah, other end of the spectrum from Soto always is the aggressive Bichette. Pokes the first one he sees down to Bryce Harper at first. 2 gone in this first inning. So here is Soto. Signed that record contract last year, 43 home runs, 3rd in MVP voting, and even better this year. 2 more home runs on Thursday night. He leads the National League in on-base plus slugging.
He's an incredible talent at the plate, but he does need some more help in this lineup for the Mets to get relevant and think about postseason.
New York was 10-21 at the end of April, above 500 since then. It's just the question will be, did they dig themselves too big a hole with that 12-game losing streak? A lot of that rough early stretch was without Soto when he was out with the calf injury. And that's far from the only injury they've dealt with. Just can they keep their heads high enough above water to wait to get healthy to make a run? 5 games back of the last playoff spot coming into today, which doesn't seem crazy, but then you look and see there's 6 teams they'd have to jump. Sanchez to Soto with a 1-1. And a big bounce to second for Stott. 1-2-3 first inning. Christopher Sanchez and the Phillies come to bat against Freddie Peralta. You come back. But Trey Turner keeps on getting hit by pitches, but he's back in there today, leading things off for the Phillies. Here is their lineup, sponsored by Rin Volk, with Schwarber and Harper to follow. Schwarber leading the National League, leading the majors, hitting with 25 home runs this year. Brandon Marsh in left field hitting cleanup. Bohm has gotten things going. Stott at second base hitting 6th. Real Muto, Rincones, and Crawford round things out for Don Mattingly. And they face off with Freddie Peralta.
Yeah, Freddie Peralta, he's got the kind of stuff that the Mets were looking for when they added him to rotation, but he does not fill up the strike zone long enough to be in the game long enough. Can he do it tonight?
17-6 last year, top 5 in Cy Young voting for the Brewers, and got him in that trade. Just right around league average this year, and especially at a time when the Mets rotation has dealt with injuries, underperformance. They need more from him. 2-0 on Turner.
Well, his fastball's good, but it's erratic. He likes to throw it away, and the hitters don't do well with the fastball away. And he'll mix and match his slider and changeup, but again, mixing in the strike zone. Can't afford against this team to live behind an account. The Phillies are not a good team with 2 strikes or behind in the count offensively this year, but ahead of the count, watch out.
Speaking of needing more, Trey Turner at the top of that list for the Phillies as he pops this one up and foul ground at first. Vientos has room to retire him, and Turner's struggles continue. He's the first out of this one for the Phillies. This man has not been the problem. Schwarber doing what he always does at this point. Back on that new contract, 25 home runs, leading the major leagues. Led the National League last year, 56 of them, finished runner-up for MVP. Signed that 5-year extension and right back at it. Taking ball one. Check down to third. No swing.
A lot of the command, I think, because Freddie has such an athletic and unique delivery, he does change arm angles more than you want. And right there, getting underneath the fastball, trying to ride it up, and then he'll get on top of a baseball. And that inconsistency is part of the reason why they're trying to always tweak and make sure that he gets downhill and down through the zone. And see, it's stuff like that. He has the ability to touch, feel, and touch is what we call throwing a breaking ball and a changeup. But it's that fastball being erratic has got to be better, because it'll make that pitch even more dangerous.
2-2 on Schwarber. Fastball Freddie, they've called him since he came up. Remember when he broke in, he threw that fastball about 75% of the time. That's way down, although it is still up around 50%, as much as anybody. The Phillies, one of the worst fastball hitting teams in the league. 2-2 to Schwarber. Changeup misses, and the count goes full.
You see, as a hitter, you're looking to see, where can I pick up the ball? And there it is, a little lower 3/4. And if you alter on any of those, it gives away to the hitter what kind of pitch it is. It's amazing how good some of these hitters are to just pick up the deviation and the difference between your hand and your tilt, because you'll know that you can't throw a certain pitch from a certain angle, and they lock in on it.
Another 3-2 to Schwarber is lofted to center field. On comes Bench. Still coming. Makes the catch and shows off that speed. Playing very deep on the home run leader. But closes enough ground to get him 2 out.
Center fielders see a big swing. Their first motion is to go back, because you got a slugger up there that you got to respect the power, and he hit it off the end of the bat.
Though for a lot of the season, this guy right here, John, was doing what he always seems to do. That is Bryce Harper, but he's fallen into a bit of a funk lately. One of his last 22. Don Mattingly was telling us, he said to him the other day, like, man, what do I have to do? Just hitting into a lot of tough luck. And Mattingly said, you stay right where you are. But you can only tell guys that for so long. You got to start getting some results for the head.
So first 3 hitters, nowhere close. And the first 3 hitters for Sanchez, I told you you're going to see an opposite approach. Sanchez threw 3 straight first pitch strikes to the hitters, and now you've got behind the count living dangerously to a Philly lineup that will not last throughout the game, I can promise you.
2-0 on all 3 hitters. Harper turns on this ball, sends it in the air to deep right field. Wagaman back and goodbye. Bryce Harper puts the Phillies on the board with a home run.
Well, that's the part of the field where you'll be able to get a home run, especially if it's high in the air. It's going to carry out to left field. You're going to have to hit a line drive.
Well, you said you can't play with this lineup like that behind, and Harper makes him pay with his 16th of the year.
Yeah, I mean, once that ball gets launched, I mean, they took batting practice, obviously. They know where the ball's carrying, and Freddie doesn't even have to look. He's just getting a new ball.
Phillies on the board first. Marsh to the plate, fouls off the first one. You know, home runs have been what the Phillies have had to do to win games. They're 28th in on base. They're 28th in average. Their overall slugging numbers not good either, but what slugging they have has been home runs. They didn't homer on Thursday night. 5-15 this season when they fail to go deep. Very home run reliant. Harper checking that box in the first inning. Marsh has been their best hitter for average and one of the best hitters for average in the National League at .317 this year. Good chance he heads to his first All-Star game in front of his home crowd here in Philly. Coming up in just a few weeks.
He will be here.
Fired up for it. Peralta's 1-2. Marsh grounds it foul. Another look at Harper's home run.
Well, Harper takes one of those incredibly violent swings, it looks like, but when he connects, that's a lot of times what that ball will do.
Marsh down and a good changeup, but the Phillies on the board first. Bryce Harper, who's been scuffling the last couple of weeks, his skipper told him, do what you've been doing. It's going to land eventually, and this time it does in the seats to make it 1-0 Phils.
Still have moderate to
back in Philadelphia, where Bryce Harper has the Phillies on the board with a solo home run. And Christopher Sanchez goes back to work after 1-2-3 first inning. It comes home to Marcus Semien, aggressive, sends it in the air to right center field. And it is Crawford over to catch it. So he's got the first 4 outs on 11 pitches. Just coming right after mostly with fastballs.
Yeah, he does, and that's what he does to make hitters be very aware. They don't want to get to his changeup. They don't want to get to 2 strikes. So what do? They're going to have to be aggressive and pick out a pitch in the middle of the zone and try to force the action.
One away for Eric Wagaman, who was a key guy in the winning rally on Thursday night at a pinch hit base hit against Alvarado. And that decisive 7th inning to the Mets 6-4 win. Strike one on Wagaman, who they just picked up this season. A couple games in the major leagues for the Mets this year. He's gone 3 for 9 so far. Ball and a strike.
He just has great arm action. Ball jumps, moves, and then he just finishes you with the same arm action, but that killer changeup that fades down. Right there. I mean, you just have no idea sitting at home, like, well, just lay off of it. You can't lay off of it because the grip takes away the speed and then creates the movement, and then it's all coming out of the same angle that he slings that fastball in.
Yeah, and it's in there at the knees for strike 3. We got a challenge coming here from Wagaman, but that looked pretty good. Right at the bottom of the zone.
I tell you, I struggle with these challenges early.
It's a good one right there. Overturned, but I get your point, though.
I just do. I know that resulted in an out, but think about how close that was for him to be wrong. And then changes the dynamics late in the game.
And the Mets have had some issues with that recently. Might not seem like a big deal right now, but then you sit there in the 9th inning like, I wish we could get that overturn call for our pitcher.
Man on second, 1 out, totally get it. Like, you're getting another chance to drive the run in. But I know the teams want guys to be aggressive, but I just think you got to be aggressive in the right spots, not just nobody on and 1 out.
Sanchez home with a payoff. Wagaman spoils it. It's almost like hitters should go up there with the same kind of structure to the thinking that you do as a fielder before the pitch, before the play. You know where you're going when the ball is put in play. Like as a hitter, it's almost like going into the at-bat. You got to know a challenge situation or not.
Yeah. I mean, I get the optics of it. That resulted in an out, so now it's not. You know, I get that. That part I get. When it's 2 strikes and it changes the at-bat, and you're going to see real quick that he went to it right away. It wasn't as if he was like, oh, shoot, I don't want to be, I don't want to strike out. Who does? So now he's got a chance to get on base.
8th pitch of this at bat. Wagaman earns the walk, and he does take advantage of the challenge. And he's the first base runner of the day against Sanchez.
But I've seen first inning, first pitch of the game challenge. Like, that's the kind of stuff I know that players are creatures of habit, and they want to be right. But the first inning, first pitch is not the time.
Not exactly high leverage right there. All right, so runner at first with 1 away, and Francisco Alvarez, who's hit above 300 since coming off of the injured list. tore his meniscus May 12th. They told him 6 to 8 weeks because that's what it takes to come back from a torn meniscus. He was back a month later.
This guy, I think on one leg, could swing as hard as anybody I've ever seen. He does not get cheated on his swings.
Pokes it through the right side and a base hit for Alvarez. And so first base runner, then first base hit. And the Mets have something brewing here.
This is one of the violent swings of a guy that just is looking to launch. And he hit one so far in batting practice, by the way, on a swing like that. And this one resulted in a single, hard hit single.
Carlos Mendoza is telling us 2 days after he had his surgery, walks into the training room to check in with him, and he's got his batting gloves on with a bat in his hand like he's ready to swing. Carlos is like, wait a minute, you're not supposed to be doing that yet. The stitches held him back from getting in the cage. First and second for Vientos, and a strike on the Mets first baseman, who had a pinch hit walk in the winning rally on Thursday. Most of his time has come off of the bench lately. He's just really struggled. Yeah, Jared Young playing well at first base. Vientos on the wrong side of the platoon there.
Yeah, struggling offensively and velocity. A lot of 96 plus beating him to the barrel of the bat.
On this 0-1 from Sanchez, Vientos takes change low.
It's funny, the talent to hit a baseball is hard, man. I'm telling you, it is very difficult to hit a baseball. But every hitter, you think they got their own radar in their eyes. Like they see it differently. And if a ball is on them, velocity and technique and mechanics, they just don't get on top of. A firm fastball, and by the likes of it, I wish our average velocity was going down in the big leagues, but it looks like it's going up because everyone's still throwing hard.
1-2 on Vientos. Sanchez comes home. So explain that, because some people may hear that and say, wait a minute, why would you want velocity to go down?
Well, I just want guys to be healthier. I mean, the higher it goes, the more the guys are amped up to throw it, the more they're going to be injured. So the ability to use velocity is one thing. It's to max it out every single time. It's just it's a bad long-term solution, but it's a short-term greatness for a lot of guys who like seeing that stuff coming out of the pitchers.
Tapper long third, if that stays fair, it's a tough play, but it goes foul.
In other words, they don't want you using gears. Like if you could throw a ball 99 miles an hour, you could throw it 95 and you could throw it 93. You should be able to do that. But they want you throwing 99 every single time. I don't see the value in that, but that's the system they want, and that's the reward system they have. The Justin Verlanders of the guy that could start a game at 92 and end at 99, those guys are gone. So that's what I mean, is if you could teach that a little bit more, if that guy has that capacity to do it, man, if he could just harness some of those and realize that he could have that velocity later in the game, that'd be cool.
It's so systemic, though, because even before the reward system, it's like, how do I get a chance? How do I get a look if I'm not showing you I can do 99 every time? Crowd wasn't happy. Vientos took his time getting back to the box there. And now he's down on strikes, and he'll take extra pleasure out of that.
This is a great breaking ball. Back foot to a right-handed hitter.
It's like, oh yeah, he's got that too. Talk about the fastball and the changeup that he throws more than 80% of the time, but then he breaks that off. And it's up to Luis Torrens, catcher for the Mets, out of the 8th spot today. Swings and fouls off a changeup.
Tell you what, the Mets as a whole on the year do not have many of these situations. Third least at bats with runners in scoring position. That is hard to believe in a roster that's been created like this one.
Quickly 0-2. They went through a stretch recently where they were straining 10 guys a game. They were getting the chances finally, but weren't getting them in. So Sanchez trying to bully his way out of this after the Mets put him at first and second with one away. Struck out Vientos. It's 1-2 on Torrens as this one scoots through the legs of Real Muto. So runners up to second and third.
Well, there he tried to throw his power changeup. That was 90 miles an hour. He really was trying to bury it in the bottom of the zone, and he did that. And of course, a rarity getting by JT, but this is the power version where he's really going to throw it and create extra sink.
First chance in this game for New York. Second and third, 2 out, and the 1-2 from Sanchez is poked to second. A diving pluck from Stott. What a play to save a pair. Bryson Stott, full extension and a hot shot, keeps this a 1-0 game. Freddie Peralta goes back to work in a 1-0 game. Last of the second, where Bohm leads off and takes ball one. So he continues that trend from the first inning. John falling behind these Phillies hitters. He's always had great strikeout stuff, but there have been times where it's taken him, 100 pitches to get through 5, and he might rack up those strikeouts, but too often takes him way too long to do so.
Yeah, the other thing that a lot of pitching coaches are trying to do is when guys are struggling to throw strikes, condense the motion to a mini stretch, right, where he's out of.
Bohm smacks it down the line, foul.
But it still starts and ends with the balance over the rubber and going downhill. If you have too many moving parts and your angles are off, your pitches are going to be off. It's the same thing with a hitter. If you're not swing playing flat enough in the zone and you're swinging up a lot, you're going to miss the baseball. And I think for him, because he has so much talent, he's just got to find a way to get mechanically more connected because he falls off a little bit, and that effort of trying to throw the ball firmly sacrifices location.
Bohm serves one into right. That will be caught by Wagaman, just able to scrape that thing off of the ground.
Ooh. They're going to challenge that, aren't they?
I think so. Worth it. Worth another look.
Philadelphia is challenging the catch in right field.
Ooh, that's going to be a
hit.
I think that's going to be a hit. And I'm going to make my L9 to a 1B.
I'm already thinking about how I'm going to change mine to get it in pen. Not great. And Wagaman sees the same thing all these folks do, looking at the video board. Probably going to be a leadoff hit for Bohm.
Live, he sure sold it. It's still close enough to where they're going to. The one angle looked like the ball hit the grass.
Yeah, they're going to say there's not enough there to make it definitive, that there's a chance to hit off of the fingertips of the glove.
Well, if they don't, then I need a new score sheet because I just changed it.
Have you fixed the?
I already fixed it.
You'd have to fix the fix.
Yeah.
Wagaman, who spent 8 seasons in the minors before getting his chance in the big leagues with his hometown Angels a couple years ago. Last year with the Marlins, and then started this season in AAA with Minnesota. That's picked him up, put him in AAA initially, but he's come up and had a couple good games for him.
After review, the call on the field is overturned. It is no catch. The runner will be placed at first base. Philadelphia will retain their challenge.
We got the whiteout strips from Rick. You know how to use those?
No, I'm good. I made mine look like a base hit.
All right. What happens when he comes around and potentially scores.
That's going to be difficult.
You'll need the whiteout strip. Keep it close by. So leadoff man is aboard, and Bryson Stott is up. Had that awesome defensive play to save a couple runs in the top of this inning. Been a really streaky year for Stott, which is surprising to see because he's the kind of guy you figure would have a consistent profile, more of a bat-to-ball guy.
Yeah.
Lately, a pretty good stretch going. He's hitting .340 over his last 10 games. The underlying metrics as good as they've ever been. Don Mattingly was saying part of that, though, is that as he's looked to do a little more damage, he's hitting the ball too high. They've gotten him back to that line drive approach lately.
It's really surprised how bad his splits are versus right-handed pitchers struggling. That front shoulder, so important to a right-handed pitcher. And watch where that front shoulder goes. And that one he kept tucked in and he kept on line. But when that front shoulder leaves the line of where he's trying to throw it, in other words, it starts going towards first base, you are not going to have command with a fastball. That was the easiest pitch to stay back. When you know you're throwing a changeup or off speed, you're going to stay back. But fastballs where guys race because they want to get the ball to home plate. So sometimes you can use your secondary pitches to get you to stay back and help out your fastball.
Here's his payoff. Sprayed foul. Comes and goes. I mean, he goes 3-0 and then 3 awesome pitches.
Well, even with Milwaukee, he didn't pitch deep a lot. Part of that is what we're talking about right now, the amount of pitches.
From 3-0 to 3-2. Here's his payoff, and it's lifted to left field for Soto. He's got room for the first out. Showed a moment ago those splits you were talking about. He's been way better against left-handed pitching this year, which is crazy because going to stretches previous seasons where he would not even play against lefties. He's the first out of this inning, and up comes JT Realmuto. His numbers have dropped the last few years offensively and bottomed out at this point. .202, by far the lowest average of his career. .270 hitter for his career. 35 years old, his 8th season in Philadelphia. 15 years in the major leagues, catching as many innings as anybody. And for a stretch there, he was as well-rounded and as valuable as any player in the National League. But at some point, catching all those innings takes a toll on you. One and two. Peralta's 1-2 is popped up. Back of first. Vientos is out. Wagaman's on. It's going to fall foul.
But you almost feel like the Mets have been given about 2.5, 3 weeks of leeway because of the Knicks. Right? And then it's all going to be about the Mets here come All-Star break. So if they can play their way into a little bit of a better position, otherwise decisions. And the guy on the mound might be one of those decisions.
What a scene it was in New York. What a championship run for those Knicks. Millions of people in Manhattan for this parade. First championship since 1973 for the New York Knicks. Mets looking for their first since '86. 2-2 on Real Muto, who pokes it foul and stays alive. The Mets in the 24 season got in on the last day, made that surprise run to the championship series. Other way around last year, where they're in first place for a lot of the season and then missed out on the last day. And big expectations coming in here, but that big hole to begin, trying to dig themselves out of. Real Muto on 2-2, hooks one down the left field line. That is a fair ball and headed for the corner. Soto hustles to the track to get it. Bohm's given the wave. Ball pops out of Short's glove and Bohm's in to score. So it's an RBI double for JT Real Muto, and it's 2-0 Phils.
That would have been awfully interesting if Short would have been able to come up with that, because the timing of this relay, as soon as the throw was made, he was touching third base. Great hitting by JT to hook it down the line. But right here, once the throw is made, you're going to get a chance to see the timing of where Bohm was. It was going to be very close at home. He hasn't touched third now. Here comes the throw, and right there, the ball dropped. And we'll never know.
So 2-0 Phillies as Bohm scores all the way from first. Boy, the margins right here, that close to making a play to get Bohm to open the inning. Winds up reaching base with the overturned call, and then a chance to get him at home, and unable to complete the relay. So the second run scores. The rookie Rincon set the plate here. Pops it up, and an easy one at third for Bichette. 2 out. Let's go down to Ken Rosenthal.
Joe, you mentioned the Mets were only 5 games back in the wild card race. Not insurmountable. The problem is there's 7 games under 500, and until you get to 500, it's difficult to take them seriously as a contender. So how do you do that? You do that by running off 10 of 12, 12 of 14, something along those lines. And to do that, you need really good starting pitching, and the Mets simply are not positioned to do that. We see Peralta struggling again tonight. Nolan McLean better in his last start. Sean Manaea better in his last 2. But they don't have a lot of answers beyond that right now.
Yeah, it's a frustrating thing for Mets fans. The offense is coming like we've talked about. The bullpen has been great, but the rotation just not there. Senga came back this week. It was not pretty. Holmes' injury is a killer. Holmes won't be back until August. And if they don't figure it out before then, there's a chance he's back for somebody else.
Again, they put themselves in a tough spot on paper. Everything had to work out. High salary, high price free agents. But the one thing that has just let them down over the years is the health of their rotation. Now, the Holmes one is not, there's nothing you can do about that. That's not an arm injury. That's a freak injury. But most of them have to do with arm injuries.
1-2 to Crawford. Chested down by Torrens. Real Muto stays put at second. And it's 2-2 on the rookie center fielder. Already 45 pitches, and Mets fans and Brewers fans know this story well. 9 seasons in the major leagues for the 2-time All-Star Peralta, who fires a 2-2 pitch. Crawford goes up to get it, bangs it to deep left center field and off the wall. Impressive piece of hitting from Justin Crawford, and it's 3-0 Phils.
That was really impressive hitting, because he split the gap and hit the ball in the air. To wind has calmed down a little bit, but a high fastball and just tomahawks it. And a flat swing is able to get to that high pitch.
Crawford just 22 years old. He was a .320 hitter coming up through the minors, but there were questions, could it work here in the major leagues? As you see, it's a unique looking swing. He hits the ball on the ground way too much. But happy to give him some runway to get things figured out. Everything he brings with his speed, and defense has gotten better as his rookie season has gone on. Phillies have been searching for a center fielder they can count on for years. Back to the top of the order, and Trey Turner. That pop out against Peralta in the first inning. Now 1 for 17 against Peralta lifetime. A lone hit was a home run. Cracked his bat. Strike one. This is the guy, John, for the Phillies. We talk about the offense. How does it get going? He is the most obvious lever they can pull.
There's no doubt about it. And, of course, he started off slow before, and then they had a nice little campaign that got him going. And he's so uber talented, you know, but he does have that ability to swing outside the strike zone way too much for a typical leadoff hitter. But he's got power. He's got speed. He should hit for average. And you've seen what he's done after winning a batting title.
He had 304 last year, down to 223 this year, which would be the second lowest average ever for a defending batting champ. That was Turner's second batting title, 295 for his career. Don Mattingly was saying the other day, I'm going to keep trusting this guy. Guys who hit, and he's always hit. Like with a lot of this Phillies roster, though, he's going to turn 33 in a couple weeks. Got another 7 years left on this contract, so the Phillies really hoping this isn't the start of a decline for him. On this 2-1 from Peralta, takes it low.
Those last two takes, I asked Don Mattingly just the process of hitting, the ebbs and flows of when you're struggling. Can it be as simple as taking a pitch and properly taking, or getting a bloop? He said it's the process, and sometimes a take lets you know you're right.
In foul ground at third, Bichette's over to give it a look. He's got room, and that's the inning. But the Phillies get two more. A couple run-scoring doubles from Real Muto and Crawford. 2 weeks until 250. 3 weeks until the All-Star game here in the city of brotherly love, Philadelphia. Phillies have a 3-0 lead. Only the Brewers a better record in the National League since Don Mattingly took over, and the Phils find themselves in playoff position, getting close to the halfway mark of the season. Have the race on the mound tonight. Christopher Sanchez to the 9-hitter Zach Short. He has gone 9 for 9 first pitch strikes.
Yeah, that's what he's known for. Again, just getting the hitter in a defensive approach, and then if not, get a quick ground out on that first pitch. Tell you, the city of Philadelphia has been we had the PGA Championship. We had Friday a rare day off because of the World Cup. Got the All-Star game.
Carlos Mendoza did get to go to the game, by the way, yesterday. He's telling folks he was trying to get a ticket, which are not easy to come by, but he was able to go. And growing up in Venezuela, he said you were either a Brazil or an Argentina soccer fan, and he was a big Brazil fan, so had vested interest in that game. 3-0 win for the Brazilians. One of the favorites. And it was a party here in this city. After the first pitch strike, 3 straight balls to the 9-hitter. And now 3-2 on Short. See if you can see Carlos in any of these shots. Mixing it up. So I don't know a whole lot about soccer, but what I'm hearing is Team USA is better than we were thinking.
Yeah, they've looked good. I was on my way to Milwaukee and never did so many high fives in a plane with passengers watching the game. It was exciting, and everyone was going crazy. And then yesterday, right? 2 days ago.
Yeah.
2 days
No,
ago.
you're right. It was yesterday.
Yesterday they won against Australia.
Next match will be Thursday night, facing off with Turkey. third strikeout of the game right there for Sanchez. And here you go. The official promo, as we call it. USA against Turkey, Thursday, 10 o'clock Eastern. Coverage starts at 9 Eastern. Try to run a perfect group stage. Get down to the knockout stage. Top of the order in Bench. Struck out his first time. And there's the first ball one from Sanchez to begin an at-bat. You know, for Christopher Sanchez, there's not really any trick in you. You can be pretty sure you're going to get a fastball or a changeup, occasional slider in there, but he's just so precise with what he does.
Well, the other thing he's got a good arm angle that he hides, and the hitter sees it late. And again, pitching has so many different ways to get it done. Extension, hand positioning, three-quarter, over the top, sidearm. But the ability to be also sneaky fast when you've already thrown 96. There's a difference between 96, getting hit all over the yard, and a sneaky 96 that gets up on the hitter. Tall, slender, hand comes out of the glove, but see, you don't really see it till right there. And he gets downhill, and the hitter's got to pick that up quick.
Now, the changeup is just a variation of his sinker grip. The hitters will tell you that even if you're looking changeup, it's hard to tell them apart. You might be sure you're going to get one of those two pitches, but still good luck hitting one of them. Here comes to the 3-1 to Bench. Full count.
Yeah, he may get one right here. Not afraid to throw it to left-handers.
Didn't have that pitch until he got to the major leagues. It's a guy who, when he was in AAA, had a walk rate that was through the roof. First couple years in the majors, back and forth, and had an ERA close to 6. He had the power you're talking about. He just had no idea where it was going. Here's his payoff pitch. And he stuck with a sinker. Pitcher Profile sponsored by Wendy's, taking a deeper dive on Christopher Sanchez.
Yeah, he's having a spectacular first half, and he will be rewarded. Of course, all that confusion on not making the All-Star team before. He's going to make the All-Star team. Get a good chance to start it.
Gets him on the outside corner. Falls behind both hitters in this inning, comes back to strike both out.
Tremendous sinker on the outside part of the plate, just holds the outside corner.
Gives him 120 strikeouts to 20 walks for the year. 2 up, 2 down in this third. Bo Bichette grounded out on the first pitch that he saw in the first inning. Swings and misses at a disappearing change. Now, the boos that you hear for Bichette, if you're a fan of one of these teams, you're familiar why those boos are raining down. If you're just casually tuning in, folks thought that Bichette was going to be a Philly. Really close to coming to Philadelphia. Depends on who you ask how close it was. Bichette said, yeah, it was definitely an option. You talk to folks with the Phillies, they thought that a deal was imminent. Dave Dombrowski called it a gut punch when they got the news that it was going to be the Mets, who pivoted after they lost out on Kyle Tucker, and gave that big money deal to Bichette. Shorter contract, but more money per year. Drops a base hit into left center to keep this third inning going.
Well, he's going to hit. I mean, nobody thought he was going to stay in the low 200s. Struggled mightily with his new club, New York, and looks like he's coming out of it.
Now, the boos for Bichette were because he didn't choose the Phillies. The boos for Soto are because he's Soto and always gives the Phillies and just about everybody else a hard time. Grounded out his first time today. Takes a strike from Sanchez. 50th game in Philadelphia. He's got 20 home runs in the first 49 games here. He's knocked in 50 in those 49 games. Only visiting player with more home runs here at Citizens Bank Park, David Wright. Down the right field line, hooking to the seats and foul. Two of them on Thursday against Nola. One of them a shot, one of them he hit so high he didn't think that he got enough, but it kept on carrying way up there. It gives him 17 for the year, even though he missed a lot of the first month. Fourth overall in the majors, but leading the National League in that OPS. And an 0-2 hole against Sanchez, and takes outside.
I mean, this guy is such a special hitter. I mean, just the way he takes. Yeah, you can get him out, but he's not going to get himself out too often. His ability to recognize the strike zone, 2 strikes, spread out, not get ultra aggressive, and still hit with power.
Historic combination of that power and that patience. 28 years old in his 9th season, second one with the Mets. On another 2-2 from Sanchez, Soto pulls a base hit to right field. Back-to-back 2-out singles for the 2 hottest Mets.
That's just a great at bat. I mean, 2 strikes, never sweat. He's crushing teams in the division, hitting well over 440. And that's just that's what you need to look at if you're a young player trying to figure out how to hit in the big leagues. Shoo, man.
Two on, 2 out, and Semien takes downstairs. Semien had a 2-run triple on Thursday night, and Carlos Mendoza was saying we've seen signs of him coming out of it and tapping back into his all-star form, but hasn't really sustained it yet. Guy they got in a trade for Brandon Nimmo this offseason. Twice has finished 3rd in MVP voting. Did it for the Blue Jays, did it for the Rangers in their championship season.
Well, when he's locked in and not trying to pull every single pitch, but he does get pull happy. His power and trying to hit ball up and to the left side of the infield.
Straight up. Right side of the infield, Bryce Harper can put to use all those years of play in the outfield. Makes the catch. The Mets strand a pair. It stays 3-0. Bring it back to Philadelphia with our Indeed player resume as Kyle Schwarber gets ready to lead things off. Leading the major leagues with those 25 home runs after he led the National League last year with 56 and finished runner-up for MVP. More home runs than anybody in the National League since coming to Philadelphia. And he's going to be in Philadelphia for the long term with that new 5-year contract. It'll be 9 years at the end of that new deal. He's saying he looks back to his time in Chicago. He breaks in and you think you're going to be in that place for your whole career. 6 years there with the Cubs, some great moments, but they let him go. And then he goes to Washington, Boston, before signing his initial deal with the Phillies and finding what will be his long-term home. Golfs one to right center field, and Wagaman doesn't even move. Upper deck home run, Kyle Schwarber.
When you see where this pitch is, not many people can do this in the game of baseball. That's what makes him such a unique hitter. He's bearing in and then just flips it inside, head down, hooks it. That's strong, and that's strong.
Yeah, there's strong, and then there's Kyle Schwarber strong. 26th of the year to lead the big leagues. 213 as a Philly. And now Harper scalds one through the middle into right center field. Rounds and heads for second. Wagaman's throw is offline, and Harper's got a double. 2 for 2, homer and a double for Harper.
Another one middle, and this time he goes up the middle.
So a good sign for the Phillies as Harper is getting rewarded for his hard contact. And now Brandon Marsh. This is not so much out of the middle of nowhere as it is a continuation of what Marsh did at the end of last season. Miserable start to last year. It included an 0 for 31 in April. But by the end of the year, he was hitting 280. Up a notch this year, 317, way more aggressive approach. Working with the hitting coach Kevin Long, and then a shift to his mindset too. Marsh said that he is a perfectionist and that's been good for him getting here, but it's also started to get in his way. He said, I'm trying to do the work, do the studying, but then, quote, go be just dumb enough. Get a good pitch and just hit it hard. Now the 1-2 from Peralta. He fouls it off and stays alive.
Well, Schwarber's made for a lot of different fields, right? Like you could put him in a lot of fields and go, oh, he was made for this field. Oh, he was made for this field. But he's really made for this field because right field, man, I was saying earlier, you got to keep the ball out of being in right field for these left-handed power hitters. And you're going to be a right fielder sometimes, and you're just not going to move.
Yeah, you think Wagaman knew?
You just don't have to move and turn around, see how far it goes.
Winston Churchill said, why stand when you can sit? Why sit when you can lay? Why move when you can watch?
There's going to be a lot of those. Golly, do you think he could back up last year with this year? I'm pretty sure he'll be in the home run derby here as well.
Oh, wouldn't that be fun? And maybe we can even get a home run derby at the end of the All-Star game again.
Yeah.
Nobody out, bottom 3 already. The 63rd pitch for Peralta. Ricochets up the middle. Nice play by Simeon. High throw sails into the dugout, and it's 5-0 Phillies.
Simeon made such a nice play getting to the ball, but he had to hurry up and threw it, and the ball just sailed on him. And when he gets this ball, you could just see how quickly he's got to grab it and throw it. Grab it, throw it, and it just sails. Unfortunately, it didn't hit anything. Went right in the hallway there, right between the fence.
Hit in an air officially. Marsh up to second, still nobody out, and Alec Boehm to the plate.
Well, again, I can never figure out road to home splits when you've got a ball club like the Philadelphia Phillies, but they definitely score. We documented it earlier. They score more at home than they do on the road, and when they score to this degree, 5 or more, record's pretty good.
And they're at right field for Wagaman. And finally, Peralta gets the first out of this inning. Like and hitting in Philly. Talked about it right off of the top today. They've continued that today with these 5 runs.
29-9 when scoring 4 or more runs. But at home, they have flexed their muscles with the power.
One gone for Bryson Stott. Flied out to left field his first time. Tremendous defensive play to save a couple of runs. His hockey plus minus is up there. Now the Phillies in wild card position. They're 7.5 back of the Braves, who will beat the Brewers for the second consecutive day. That slap to left center field sends Soto back to the edge of the track, and to watch it hit the base of the wall. I think he maybe misjudged how much room he had there. Marsh is in to score the 6th run already for Philly.
Yeah, I think he was doing a little deep, trying to keep him from scoring, but that was going to be hard to do. That ball was hit way better, and I think Soto knew right away, okay, I'm not going to get to it, but I'm going to just fake it like I got it. Right here, I got it. That ball was well over his head.
You don't think if he kept running, he had a shot at that?
I don't think so.
No?
I think the angle, he's playing pretty shallow. Like, the ballpark's small, and the left field line and down the right field line has got taller walls, but the angle might have thrown him and thrown us for a loop.
Foul ball off of the bat of Real Muto. Knocked in a run with a double his first time. We talk about Bichette leaning towards the Phillies and then shifting to the Mets, and you think about the sliding doors that come from that. It was days after that the Phillies paid Real Muto, gave him that 3-year extension. You wonder if they had done that, if they would have done that deal had Bichette signed here. Real Muto's got his second hit of the ball game. It's his second double, and it is a rout. 7-0 Phils. Well, the Eagles over the Giants here. NFL score. And it continues this theme of the Mets season where it seems like every day where there's a step forward and they're like, okay, here we go. Yeah. There's a step back.
Yeah, it's for a lot of Mets fans, it's a nightmare. But, you know, again, this team hasn't been as healthy. And you'd like to see them healthy to see what they can do. And that includes their starting rotation. But it also includes Lindor and the others that they have yet to really see on a consistent basis in the lineup. But you're 100% right. There's been no continuity to here we go, and here's the 7 out of 10 and 8 out of 10 stretch.
You got the optimism that comes with getting Lindor back in a few days. You would have loved, if you're a Mets fan, to see them really double down on what they did Thursday night and perhaps sweep this series from the Phillies, gather that momentum into Lindor's return. Rincones fouls off the first pitch, and we check in with Kenny.
Well, Joe, one thing with the Mets that they should regret is the idea of losing durable players and bringing in less durable players. Now, we all understand why they felt they needed to break up last year's team. That's fine. But you lose Pete Alonso, durable, Brandon Nimmo, durable, and you bring in Jorge Polanco, who has a history of injuries, Luis Robert Jr., who has a history of injuries. So the injuries that they've suffered, not entirely a surprise.
Yeah, you're right, Kenny, and that's part of the frustration with the efforts are not matching the results. And the efforts are there. They're spending, they're going out, they're doing a lot of things, but maybe not necessarily the smartest things.
Two gone in this third inning. Already 4 in the bank for the Phils, and Crawford, who doubled off of the wall his first time. One of the 7 extra base hits the Phillies have through 3 innings. This is already a season high for a game, and not even through 3. Two on Crawford on this Father's Day weekend. Happy Father's Day to his dad, the longtime big leaguer Carl Crawford. Chase a change, 2-1. Drafted in the first round at a high school in Las Vegas just 3 years ago. Pretty quick run to the major leagues for Crawford. Does everything fast. Just now, some action in the Mets bullpen. First time Peralta's given up 7 runs in 3 years. Bad for the Mets as they try to get back into contention. Bad for the Mets if they turn into a seller, because Peralta's going to be a key piece if they do that. Free agent at the end of this season. They'd like to get as much value out of him as they can if they decide to ship pieces away. Realmuto at second. 3-2 to Crawford. Takes ball 4. But not the only father-son combo in this ball game. Bo Bichette, his dad Dante, longtime major leaguer. Happy Father's Day to you, Johnson.
Yeah, same to you.
Thank you.
We're seeing more father-son generational baseball than ever before. It's amazing.
Got a lot of guys making you feel old, showing their kids showing up here, huh?
No kidding.
Back to the top, and Turner trying to join the party. He and Rincones, the only guys without a hit. And now he will gather one himself. Here comes Realmuto. The throw from Soto is not in time. 5-run inning for Philadelphia, and they lead this game 8-0 as they've batted around in the third.
Looked like a changeup, middle. And then it's going so bad that when he tries to back up home plate, there's a mini collision. He's trying to get back there, and then could have been awful. It could have been.
That kind of day for Freddie, and it's going to be the end of his day. To the bullpen they go, 8-0 in the third. Well, coming up in just a few weeks, the MLB All-Star Game takes over Philadelphia. First on July 4th, the All-Star Selection Show live from Independence Hall, and then catch baseball's biggest stars in the Midsummer Classic, July 14th on Fox. Kyle Schwarber started this inning, what feels like yesterday, with a home run. 8 earned runs, a career high in Freddie Peralta's 9th season in the major leagues. The runners at first and second, his responsibility as CNL Perez takes over and misses with his first pitch to Schwarber. Pen for the Mets has been their biggest strength. Perez, relatively new addition to it. Started the season with the Nationals, so just 7 of those games out of his body of work coming with New York. Homer for Schwarber was his 26th. Perez, the former Oriole, out his 9th year in the major leagues, home with a 2-1 pitch. Schwarber tees off again. There's the second one of the inning into the second deck. Holy Schwarber.
I'm going to go on a limb and say that's a record amount of distance of homers in one inning by the same guy. Okay? That's what I'm going to say. So one guy to hit 2 home runs in the same inning that's the most feet of homers in the history of baseball.
Total distance.
Total distance. I feel completely confident in throwing it out there.
And now Harper tries to follow it up with one of his own and fouls it. Absolutely crushed both those.
That was like what, 457? The first one was
getting them for you. Harper has another hit, and this is ridiculous. Harper is 3 for 3, and by the way, here in the 3rd inning, Harper homer double single. That was 457, yeah.
457. I mean, that is just
worthy of a thumbs up. He likes it. First one was 456. So, do the math. 913.
It's a record.
We're just going to go with it.
Oh, I already did.
It's in pen.
It's in pen. Spoke it into existence.
Sawed off right here. Rolled it to first. Perez to the bag, and mercifully the Mets end the inning right there. But the Phillies score 8 runs. Kyle Schwarber reaches the second deck twice in 1 inning. Today's telecast is sponsored by Progressive Insurance, a grand slam for your budget. Kyle Schwarber, the first guy to hit 2 home runs in the same inning for the Phillies since Trey Turner did it 3 years ago in Washington. No way that his measured 900-some feet, though.
No.
And we are digging for official confirmation. We get you StatCast era distance home runs.
Yeah.
And now Christopher Sanchez has to trick himself into thinking this isn't an 11-0 game.
Yeah, that's you know, when you sat that long, you're going to get one of 2 things: a lot of runs or an injury on the field. And when you go back out to the mound, you got to get your warm-ups in, and you got to reconnect with what you were doing when it was obviously 3-0, 2-0. But yeah, you got to trick your mind.
Good problem to have, but
I loved how everyone said, just pitch like it's 1-0. Like, I can see that it's not 1-0.
yeah, that is the problem. Therein lies the problem. Waggaman the first out of the 4th.
But in all seriousness, you learn how to do it. It takes a minute. The first time you get those tons of runs, you're like, yeah, now let me get through the 5. And you start changing your philosophy and your approach, which really shouldn't do. But you do have luxury to throw more fastballs and challenge more hitters.
Francisco Alvarez, who has one of the 3 hits for the Mets, takes down. Everybody that you talk to about Christopher Sanchez brings up his drive behind the scenes. I mean, we see all this stuff you're touching on with his delivery and the pitch mix and everything, but he says it's taken his whole career to get to this point where it's all come together as far as the diet and the workouts and his throwing program. Alvarez is out number 2 every single day. He plays catch with the bullpen coach, Cesar Ramos, and obsesses over hitting targets. So not just playing catch,
right.
But Ramos sets targets on every throw, and he obsesses over every one of them.
It's called playing catch with a purpose. Too many people play catch to loosen up their arm. That's fine. But you can play catch with a purpose, too. I used to take the A on the uniform or the B with the Braves, and I would always try to throw to different letters.
Vientos in the air to deep left field. Marsh goes back at the wall. It's gone. Mark Vientos gets the Mets on the board with his 2nd home run against Christopher Sanchez.
Therein lies why what he just did in the stretch of those runs without that innings, without giving up a run, is why it's so impressive. I mean, this is a home run hitting ballpark, and Sanchez, I'm going to go and say in today's era, I never thought we'd see somebody get in the 50s with the way guys swing and how easily you can run into a home run.
Strike on Torrens. 9th for Vientos this year. And he can have it back if he wants it. Pretty good arm right there. Henry Rowengartner. All right, so StatCast era goes back more than a decade now. That is the first time that a hitter has had 900 feet of home run in the same inning. Previous high was 859. Mark Trumbo had 859 on 2 home runs in 2016. So really not even close. Strike 3 call to finish off the top of the 4th. Mets get on the board, but need a whole bunch more. You can take home a piece of the game. Bid on game used jerseys, baseballs, bases, and more at auctions.com. Or let me read it again. Auctions.mlb.com. Alec Bohm, first pitch swinging, which you may see a lot of in this 11-1 ball game. Flies out to right field. 1 gone in the 4th. Recap that 3rd where the Phillies got 8 runs on 8 hits, 2 home runs, both of them from Kyle Schwarber. Here's Stott with 1 away. Taken high for a ball. Knocked it around with a double last inning. Came in to score. Phillies trying to keep pace with the Braves. You mentioned earlier they beat Milwaukee again today. They beat Jacob Mizorowski yesterday, and then today, opposite field walk-off home run from Ozzie Albies to win 4-3. Braves had dropped 6 of 7 going into that series. Finally looking mortal, but impressive weekend so far.
Yeah, they've been dealing with their injuries, and these 2 last games couldn't have come at a better time because they were starting to give teams in the East some hope.
Into left center field, it's Soto for out number 2. There's a couple teams in the National League East. It's getting overshadowed because of how good the Braves have been, but the Marlins have the best record in baseball in June, and the Nationals have the best offense in baseball for the year.
Nationals done a nice job acquiring some players that are turning out to be studs offensively, and they're building something back quicker than maybe people thought. Hardest team to figure out, Chicago Cubs.
You ain't kidding.
I mean, I think they had a 5-run lead today and they lost. I thought I saw it was 5-0 and they lost 8-6 at home.
Yeah, confirmed to the Blue Jays.
Yanks hanging in there without Judge. A lot of people thought maybe that might be a tough spread of time with Aaron Judge being out. But man, oh man, are they pulling this guy into back to the Wayback Machine.
10-6 since Aaron Judge went on the injured list. Lost today to the Reds, but yeah, overall, Paul Goldschmidt's been incredible. Cody Bellinger's having an amazing season. Ben Rice, built off of what he did last year. In an American League where it looks like if anybody wants to step forward and be that team, it's open for them. Only 3 teams in the American League with a positive run differential.
That's hard to do.
Yeah. You got the Yankees plus 115, and so It's looking like they're that team, that they're in a class of their own in the American League. Next best is the Mariners at +19, and then the only other in positive territory, Tampa Bay +7. Just outside, count goes full. How about the White Sox in the Central?
Yeah, they're offensively another very well put together team. They're gonna make you work for everything, and they're gonna find a way to score some runs.
Crack in the door with Jose Ramirez getting hurt, having to undergo surgery on his hand. Guardians with a half-game lead. The White Sox team 3 straight years losing 100 games, 39 and 36. Real Muto is down on strikes, and that's a 1-2-3 inning. Well, Christopher Sanchez, who is just 3-4 in his career against the Mets, all kinds of run support in this game, and out of the 5th he goes, 11-1. 9-1-2 for the Mets here. Zach Short leads off. And floats one into left center field, a base hit. Short's first one with the Mets.
Well, for Sanchez, we talked about how he likes to get outs, and it's going to be down in the zone. He's got that sinker with the combination of the changeup and a good slider, and I think that has put the Mets hitters in one area, their eyes down, and when he makes those pitches, you get a lot of quick outs, and you get your strikeouts too. So look for the Mets to be ultra aggressive here, down 10, and for Sanchez to pump in strikes.
How possible did you think this was, watching him early in his career?
I thought it was possible if he could start commanding the ball, and he definitely has gotten connected with the mechanics to throw the ball and the intended opportunities that's presented to him.
Benj bounces down to first. Harper will go to second. That is all they'll get.
And I'm telling you, in this stylistic way of hitting, in the launch angle and the way that you're trying to hit, when you can get the ball below the barrel of the bat and you can throw strikes, you're going to get outs. You don't have to strike out everybody. Yes, he's going to get a lot of strikeouts too with that same swing plane, but you have to put pressure on the offense. Otherwise, they're going to sit back, wait for a pitch, swing from their heels, and get mistakes. That's where most of the home runs in the big leagues are mistakes. Middle. You could do a whole inning on the amount of mistakes that guys crush, no matter what the velocity is.
Bichette flies it to right center field and caught by Crawford. Back to first goes Benj. What a Cy Young race this is, huh?
It's going to be a great one, and we're going to add a couple guys too, I'm sure, down the road there. Shohei's not out of the picture, and locking in with other pitchers that are, whether it's Paul Skeens or Chris Sale or, you know, the likes of the pitching and the elite level. We've got them. We just got to keep them healthy.
2 outs, Juan Soto. 1 for 2 in this game after his 2 home runs in the first game of the series. Takes downstairs for a ball. You mentioned Ohtani. He's right there with ERA, but innings going to fall well short with a 6-man rotation, and the Dodgers careful to do everything they can to keep him healthy. And you're working against a workhorse in Sanchez, and Mizorowski turning into that for the Brewers. So not only are you going to fall short of the threshold to be a qualifier, but you have guys who are going to blow it away.
Yeah, no, the volume is always going to be the put you over the top. You have to do something super special to bypass that. The one thing that bothers me about this time in baseball, when we come up with all these stats and expected this, expected that, and we kind of fall into this, well, if he were to, this is how he would perform. No, you can't do that. The more innings you pitch, the harder it is to have a great season. If you're always in the bare minimums, and we've seen Cy Young's won in the bare minimums, it's easier to have a more dominant season. By attrition, the longer you go, it's harder. And so you can't play into the future and say, if this guy would have pitched 240 innings, he would no, you can't say that. So when you talk about workhorses, and today that's only 200 innings, these guys that go over 200 innings should have the leg up on somebody who just gets the bare minimum or the threshold that it qualifies them for this award.
Well, and especially if the rest of the numbers are anywhere close.
Correct.
Right? At that point, it should be no question. Head started first, coming for Benj as Soto waits on this 3-2 and fouls it off. Kenny, you are a Cy Young voter. What's your process?
Well, I have been in the past, and I am 1,000% in agreement with John. Volume matters, and what bothers me today is that a lot of voters don't consider that. They look at the rate stats. They consider that the priority, but as John said, if you're a guy who throws 220 innings and the other contender throws 180, that's 40 innings you gave your club. You helped your staff.
Now, if you're averaging 6 innings a start, say, that's another 7 games of helping your team worth of innings there. Soto scorches it to short. Trey Turner gets it and throws him out. Well, the bat might be slumping, but Trey Turner right there with a fabulous defensive play and exchanges a glance with Juan Soto. It's been all Phillies in this ball game. Well, you just saw our good hands play sponsored by Allstate. Trey Turner not taking his slipping bat into the field with him. A diving stop to take a hit away from Juan Soto. And he gives him a little smile. Let's see you. 8-9-1 for the Phillies. It is Rincon waving and missing at Perez's first pitch. Turner due up third in this inning. Rincon's leading off, getting his chance with the season-ending injury to Adolis Garcia. Was already a need, becomes an even bigger one for the Phils, and that is a right-handed hitting outfielder. Garcia had started to get going a little bit. He had 4 home runs over his last 9 games before the injury. They're hoping Rincon can give him something in conjunction with Derek Hill in a platoon at this point. Down the line foul. Ken Rosenthal, what's the plan here for the Phillies moving forward?
That definitely is going to be a priority, Joe, at the deadline, and they also will look for pitching help. They demoted Andrew Painter this week, so that puts them in the market potentially for a swingman type starter, someone at the back of the rotation, no one that's going to start a playoff game, and also bullpen help. They have had some issues with their left-handed relief of late. Every team wants bullpen help at the deadline.
Every team needs pitching. I mean, that is high on the priority list. The Philadelphia Phillies, I never felt like, even if they hadn't changed managers, were going anywhere. This roster was going to find a way. Kind of the perfect storm to the season, schedule-wise, and just underperforming, and then all of a sudden, here they are.
Yeah, Don Mattingly has said, I had 2 things going for me, talent and time, and you can add a third thing to that, timing. Talking about the schedule, they had 22 consecutive games against teams below 500 right out of the managerial change, and they had the return of Zach Wheeler right around then too. Phils fans are hoping they have a repeat of the last time that Dave Dombrowski made a midseason change. Girardi to Rob Thompson in 2022, and run to the pennant. Step earlier exit each year since then. Lost in the World Series in 22, Championship Series the year after that. Back-to-back Division Series losses, though, the last 2 years. 0-2 coming to Crawford. And he got him. 2 out. Turner had an RBI single in the big 3rd inning. The biggest inning of the year, by the way, for Philadelphia. Those 8 runs. And he's got his second hit of the game. You're saying, you're talking to Don Mattingly about what is it going to take to get a guy going. Remember, Turner had the 3 hits on Wednesday before he got hit again on Thursday and had to leave the game. But showing more and more signs that he is turning that corner.
Yeah, he is. He's just too talented. And again, you know, The season's long, and the funks and the slumps, they happen. And the great players find a way to get out of them, or at least not let them last super long. And man, oh man, this guy.
26th and 27th homers of the year, both in the 3rd inning. 4th guy in Phillies history to have 2 home runs in an inning.
He's going to have 30+ home runs with the All-Star break.
27 with about 2.5 weeks left. You said of those 56 last year, who would have thought that he could shout at that again, as powerful as he is, and as much as you know he's always going to hit a bunch of home runs. 56, a big number. How about a base hit to right? 3rd of the game for Schwarber. Look how similar the flights on these home runs are, even though they're against, one of them against a righty, one of them against a lefty. Same spot.
Yeah, the pitch was almost in the same spot. That's what happens when you can flick the bat the way he does.
Got another pitching change here, an 11-1 game in the 5th. Tobias Myers, the new pitcher for the Mets. Bryce Harper, it's been overshadowed by the 2 home runs from Schwarber, but Harper's gone homer, double, single.
He knows, right?
Gotta know. Cycle watch. He's got 1 triple the last 3 years. There was this year. Now David Peterson is going to start tomorrow's game for the Mets. Initially, Myers was part of that conversation. It was his spot in the rotation, but he gave up 7 runs in 1 1/3 in his last start. And so to the bullpen he goes. 2-1 on Harper. Now Myers in the same deal that brought him tonight's starter, Freddie Peralta. Harper to left center field, headed for the gap, and it's headed for the wall. He's at least going to get 2. We got to try for 3, don't you? Here he goes, looking for the cycle. It'll depend on how they score it. Harper into 3rd with what looks like it's going to be a triple, and the cycle.
I tell you, this would have been probably an out at 3rd if nobody's on, but this is a hometown score, and I think they're going to give it to him.
And they officially have. And so for Bryce Harper, home run in the 1st, double and single in the 3rd, and a triple here in the 5th. The cycle in the first 5 innings of the ball game. There was never a doubt that he was going for 3. Bryce Harper came into this game 1 for his last 21, hitting about $120 over the last month. And he's got the cycle in 5 innings. Now, Bryce Harper has done a lot of great things in his major league career. 15 years in the majors. This is his first cycle in his 1,861st game. It's part of a monstrous day for this Phillies offense. 13 runs through 5 innings. And Christopher Sanchez go back out there on the rocking chair. As soon as that ball left the bat of Harper, he was headed for 3. And he can thank the decision of Zach Short to throw home there.
Yeah,
for the ability to get there.
He took his helmet off halfway between 1st and 2nd, and he didn't. I don't think he cared if he was going to get thrown out at 3rd. He was definitely going to try.
It's the first cycle for the Phillies since one of the more unlikely cycles you'll ever see. Weston Wilson, who has played in a total of 120 games in the major leagues, Did it as a rookie for the Phillies in 2024. Simeon to left. Marsh is there. If there was any doubt how they were going to score that, he threw his hands up and said, "Don't you even dare consider anything other than a triple there, sir." Can you imagine double on a fielder's choice? Sorry,
I'm just telling you, if that was in New York, he wasn't getting a triple.
Yeah. Hey, what did we start this broadcast talking about? They just do it differently in Philadelphia offensively.
They do.
Season high 13 runs for them today, the most runs they've scored against the Mets in 7 years.
You know, it's hard to believe this is the first series against these two teams. They're going to be playing a lot, of course, from this point on, but they had not seen the Mets until Thursday.
Do it again next weekend, 6 times in 10 days here.
I don't know why that bothered me as a pitcher, the back-to-backs. You know, facing the same team twice within your 2 starts. Would have loved to have spread it out, but, you know, in this case, if you're Peralta, you get to make some serious adjustments the next time you face him.
Wagaman flies to right, 2 out. Did you feel like an advantage hitter? I mean, obviously you felt that way, but you think that it is I
honestly think when you have everything go wrong as a pitcher in a game like this, I think Peralta has the best chance for the advantage. Okay. I know what simplistically it would be like. Okay, the hitter's seen them and they did damage, but the likelihood of doing that twice, when you get a chance to look at where your pitches were, what pitch selections you made, and just mechanically making some adjustments, and we talked about it. If he doesn't get to a more consistency in his release point, he's going to have games not quite like this, but games where he's going to struggle and give the hitters way more credit and way more opportunities than he should.
And the Mets, they really got no shot without having Peralta and a couple other guys in that rotation get their seasons right. He'd be right at the top of the list of the candidates to do that. Sean Manaea, encouraging start on Thursday. Same thing, McLean, his last start, encouraging. Really good against Cincinnati.
But see how Sanchez just looks like, I mean, he's just going downhill playing catch to the catcher. No stress, yeah, 12-run lead. But it could be 1-0. He's going to have the same no-stress approach. He just has gotten to a point where he trusts his stuff. He knows he's good, and he is going to determine the tempo of the game.
Here comes the 1-2 to Alvarez, and a changeup misses. 29-year-old in his 6th year. A couple of years back and forth between the rotation and the bullpen, struggling doing so. Then he established himself in the rotation, but just a little better than a league average pitcher. 3-5, 3.5 ERA. Last couple of years, though, nobody better. Top down to third. Bohm charges and fields. And a 1-2-3, 6th inning for Christopher Sanchez. With a story tonight, the bats for the Phillies. The headliners for the Phillies. 2 home runs in 1 inning for Schwarber and a cycle for Harper. Bryce Harper, on a day where he has the cycle, gets a big hug from his starting pitcher, who is probably finished in this game with his monster lead. He's gone 6 innings and given up just 1 run. More the same for Christopher Sanchez, although I guess when you look at it a little more minutely, this is a bounce-back performance after giving up those 4 runs against Milwaukee his last time. Alec Bohm bounces one up the middle to Zach Short. And 1 pitch, 1 out here in the 6th. All right, so if you had to pick, what are you picking? Are you Schwarber with the 2 home runs into the upper deck in 1 inning, or are you Harper with the cycle?
Today's style of baseball, you want the power and the homers. I want the 4 for 4. And, I mean, they're close. I mean, you wouldn't shy away from either one, but I think 4 for 4 is pretty impressive. And 4 for 4 with a cycle. Like if it was 4 for 4 or 4 for 6 with a cycle, he did a cycle in the first 4 at bats.
Yeah, he's going to have a couple more still.
The part I mean, again, you know, I love anything you can do to help a ball club win. And, you know, you go 1 for 4 with 3 strikeouts and a homer, it's considered a great game. I just don't know if that's a great game. That kind of stuff. So I think anything you can do to help your ball club win is a great game for your team and your teammates.
You know, it's been kind of hard to wrap your mind around how to characterize the season for Harper, because for a couple months it was really good, but then for a month the numbers not good. The underlying numbers fly in the face of that. Stop to second. Simeon's got it. Kenny, this is it kind of goes back a year now where it's been a roller coaster for one reason or another for Harper.
Well, Joe, remember at the end of last season, Phillies president of baseball operations Dave Dombrowski zinged Harper by questioning whether he was still elite. And you look at him now, his OPS is back up to around 870. And I asked Bryce about this. I said, okay, have you proven a point? And he said, I don't think I've ever really needed to prove a point. I just keep going, playing baseball, trying to hit the ball as hard as I can. And he said, obviously, I'm not where I want to be. I am never where I want to be. My OPS could be 950, and I would not be happy.
Above 900 for his career. Two-time MVP. What a fit he's been in Philly. Now been in Philadelphia longer than he was in Washington. This is his 8th year here after 7 years there.
Crazy. Time's flying.
Mm-hmm. Hey, he's got the Ohio State headband on right there. Got to wear it again tomorrow, right?
I know a lot of guys that would. And if he left it and wasn't wearing it, I know guys that would pick it up and wear it.
You got Jazz Chisholm in New York wearing Giancarlo Stanton and Aaron Judge's pants. Guys that do anything to get a hit. Myers looking for a 1-2-3 inning. His 2-2 to Real Muto is flecked foul. Been a good day for Real Muto as well. So a couple hitters for the Phillies that have been struggling lately. And Harper and Real Muto. Even Trey Turner's gotten a couple hits his last 2 times. Multi-hit days for all those guys. 15 total for the club. And 3 of the faces of this franchise in this great era, just with the one missing big thing. Swing and a miss from Real Muto, and that does it for the Phillies in the 6th.
Want to stay up to date? Just tell Siri, show me today's MLB scores.
Back here in Philadelphia, hope you're having a great weekend. Good start to your summer vacation. 13-1. The Phillies ahead of the Mets to the top of the 7th. Lone run for the Mets came on a home run from this guy, Mark Vientos, who takes a strike. Into the Phillies pen, Max Lazar, the 27-year-old from Florida.
Straight over the top fastball with cutter, curveball, and a splitter. You can see his release point would be conducive for a splitter that goes straight down.
Drafted by the Brewers. 7 seasons in their minor league system. Didn't make it to the major leagues. Signed with the Phillies, and his 3rd season where he's had time in the bigs. Just his 3rd game this year. Phillies pen that's evolved a little bit as this season has gone on. Some key injuries. That's a base hit into center field, and Vientos with his 2nd knock of the day. Ed Duran missed a month with an oblique injury. Keller just went on the injured list earlier this week. So continuing to massage that part of the team. I want to know about Tarek Skubal. Seems like Tarek Skubal's probably going to be on the move with the Tigers where they are.
I don't know.
You think the Tigers are not out of it, or you think the Tigers hang on to it?
I don't think they're out of it.
Okay.
I think the next 2 weeks with what's happening in Cleveland, and maybe people would say that Chicago's not quite ready yet to make that kind of run. I would have said 10 days ago, 100%. But now they're playing a little bit better. They're playing with a little more urgency. And I just think when you got this problem was always going to be there if you don't win. Because you didn't lock them up. You wait too long. And now whatever you get for him is not going to be anywhere close to what you should get for a pitcher with his ability. And not to mention, coming back from that, which will create some doubt, that little elbow injury that he had surgically prepared.
So you think it should have been one or the other? They should have either extended him or traded him already.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I think in this day with so much unknown in next year's labor agreement that has to be signed, I just think that the Tigers put themselves in a position where last year was their year to win, and they came oh so close and lost against Seattle. And then they became in what I call no man's land. You then are all in. You think you're going to win again. You think your team got to the postseason last year. They're going to get to them again.
2 out. Kenny, if they do move him, who's shopping?
Oh, basically the entire league. One point I want to make on what John said. John, they were in a really tough position, the Tigers. Scott Boras' clients, of which Tarek Skubal is one, generally do not sign extensions. And he's coming off back-to-back Cy Young awards. To trade that guy when you have the promise of a potentially great season, that would have been difficult for them to do. But you're right. Now they're in a really tough spot. Now, they're 12 games under 500 still. And I know Jose Ramirez is hurt. That gives them some hope. And I know the White Sox probably aren't going to be a team we look at as a serious contender, even though they've played extremely well. I still believe he gets traded. And Joe, to answer your question, the biggest contenders, the Dodgers, the Yankees, all of those teams, regardless of need, they're going to be in there at least exploring the deal.
Is it a massive prospect ask even for 2 months?
It is, but the clubs that are interested will counter by saying, we're taking on more than $10 million in salary and we're giving you a ton of prospects. That's tough to do for any rental. And the Tigers would say, sorry, it's Tarek Skubal.
Yeah, he's different. Boy, Benj is going up there into Schwarber land with a 2-run shot. What a blast off of the bat of the rookie Benj. His 8th of the season, lands in the second deck.
Well, to finish that thought, I would think any team that trades for him is the team that thinks they can sign him. Because I just don't think you're going to give up a boatload and not have any attempt to sign him once you get him past this 2-month rental. But right now, that ball, sheesh, was sent.
That's a pretty swing. So Benj's offensive surge continues. Brett Beatty pinch hitting here for Bo Bichette with this game in hand. Carlos Mendoza getting Bichette a little break. And Beatty off of the bench. Future bright for Carson Benj. Bouncing ball to second. Stock to first. And this game to the 7th inning stretch. The ultimate goal of an MLB fan is seeing it all. And the MLB Journey to 30 Sweepstakes presented by T-Mobile is the ultimate bucket list. Enter now for your chance to win trips to all 30 ballparks. Yes, all 30. MLB.com/journey to 30 sweeps. Rincones takes a strike on the inside corner, and challenges should be banned in 10-run games. I don't care.
That's what I'm talking about.
You're going to get it right.
Yeah.
And look, it's a guy fighting in his first week in the major leagues. And Don Mattingly was just telling us before the game he needs something to go his way to start to make him feel like he belongs.
Yeah, but you're right. That'd be a good rule. 10 runs.
Yeah.
Sorry.
That's right.
It's off.
Challenge machine broken. Couple defensive changes there. Beatty, after pinch hitting, stays in at third, and Melendez in the left. Here's a high fly ball to deep center field. Benj has room for the first out of the 7th. The series will wrap up tomorrow night. And it'll be, looks like at this point, the rubber match after the Mets took the first game. Phillies out in front by 10 here in game 2. David Peterson takes the ball for the Mets. Zach Wheeler goes for the Phillies. And yeah, we talk about the manager change, Rob Thompson to Don Mattingly, the schedule getting easier, but how about the impact Zach Wheeler has made? Not just what he does on the days that he pitches, but I got to figure it's infused this whole team, having him back, not just on the days he's starting.
He's such a classic throwback. He could pitch in any generation.
Oh my gosh, another challenge.
Oh.
Pitch was a strike. New York retains their challenge.
ABS powered by T-Mobile. Close game or not.
By the way, I'm digging these uniforms for the Mets. Are they different? It's a little different top.
Yeah, a little alternate with the same number, with the same color in the numbers as the jersey.
They just caught my eye tonight. I just don't remember seeing those. I like it.
I don't know they're going to be rolling these out again anytime soon after tonight, no matter how sharp. Ooh, watch out. Thankfully misses his hands there. All those little bones up there can be bad news. Two and two on Crawford. Obviously grew up around the game with his dad Carl and considers himself a baseball historian, not just of his dad's era, but going way back. Reading books about baseball history, YouTube videos, watching old interviews. Ken Burns documentary, Ruth and Gehrig, and back to the Negro League stars like Cool Papa Bell. He studied those guys. Jackie Robinson, though, is Justin's favorite, number 42. Even before he got to the big leagues, he would celebrate Jackie Robinson Day. Don't have it officially celebrated in the minors, but he would wear number 42 cleats. Long at bat going here, even with the game in hand. 10-run game, but the 10th pitch to Crawford will be an 11th. Font getting small. And he finishes it off with a base hit to left. That's a couple really impressive things from Justin Crawford tonight.
Yeah, the one thing early on, if I'm Mets facing him tomorrow, you better get the ball down. And they tried to work the ball up, get him to swing over the top, but he's handled 2 pitches up. Fastball up and just stays on it, goes the other way.
Trey Turner, 5 hits his last 2 games, really, when you throw out Thursday night when he got hit and didn't have an official at bat. Back into the leadoff spot this week. It dropped him to the middle part of the order for a few weeks, but back in the spot where Don Mattingly has said we want him to be once he's right. Like having him on in front of Schwarber. Skies this one. Have him hit behind Schwarber. Changes that dynamic. Out is free to run in a lot of cases.
Turner gets right. Obviously, we saw last year batting over 300 in the year. He gets away from hooking everything. He'll hit a ball up the middle. He'll hit a ball to right center. Right now he's in pull mode.
Smacks this one on the ground to second. With his speed, it'll be tough to turn, and he's safe. Not many guys get a fielder's choice out of that, but Turner does. Keeps the inning going for Kyle Schwarber in our game summary, sponsored by Bank of America. Schwarber and Harper together in this game. 7 out of 8. 3 home runs and 7 driven in. Cycle for Harper, the first of his career. Schwarber, 2 home runs in 1 inning. Found the bat, strike 1, and now you were saying probably going to get to 30 home runs before the All-Star break again. 27 still with a few weeks left. If he does so, he'll be the first guy since Sammy Sosa to do it back-to-back years.
Yeah, so impressive.
It's in the National League, that is.
We were talking about last week. He's going to be approaching that Hall of Fame number. 500 home runs is not out of the reach. I think it's 128 now, or I thought last time we talked he needed 130. Somewhere in that category, and if he stays healthy, he's going to get there.
Oh boy, did he get a third towards the corner? It is gone! 3 home run game from Babe Schwarber.
Now I'd rather have his game.
I see your cycle. I say watch this. 26, 27, 28 of the year for one of the best sluggers of the generation. Well, there's no doubt he hit it hard enough. The question was, did he hit it too high? Did it have enough carry? And it did. His 5th career 3 home run game. 4 of those have come since coming to Philadelphia. You know, Harper trying to follow up his big night with a bouncer back to the mound. And so he falls to 4 for 5 with a cycle. But Kyle Schwarber, 3 Schwarbombs in this game. 1, 2, 3. 15-3. All-Star Game takes over Philadelphia first, July 4th. The All-Star Selection Show live from Independence Hall. And then baseball's biggest stars in the Midsummer Classic, July 14th on Fox. First at bat of the game for MJ Melendez, who came on defensively earlier. And Juan Soto's spot in the order, and he takes the ball. Think about it if you're a kid coming to the park tonight. It's like, man, Bryce Harper's my guy. I hope he does something. Oh, your buddy said, well, Schwarber's my guy. So I hope he has a good night. And then maybe the pitcher in the car says, but we're going to watch Christopher Sanchez. They're all right. They all win tonight.
They all did their part.
This is Schwarber, 3 home runs to key this 15-run outburst for the Phils. 3 homers for Schwarber, the cycle for Harper, and 6 ho-hum innings for Christopher Sanchez to get what will be his 9th win of the season. All those kiddos thanking Dad on this Father's Day weekend. Mom, too, of course. Never a bad time for that. Extra good weekend to say so to Dad, though. Baltimore chopped to third. Easy play, Bohm. Simeon hustles, but he's thrown out 2 away. One more AB for Wagaman here. Wagaman out of Orange County. Made it to the major leagues with his favorite team. Grew up going to Angels games. Got to the big leagues after 8 minor league seasons with the Angels. End of the 2024 season. Then went to the Marlins. Those 8 years in the minors without getting a chance. He says he never lost his love for baseball. There were times where, of course, it was tough, but never did he consider handing it away. Until they take the jersey from me. And now in his 3rd season with time in the big leagues. Getting a chance to show what he's got on this injury-riddled Mets team that is getting healthier. We talked about Lindor coming back soon. He's going to play in AAA tomorrow. Sim game on Monday, and then a chance to return during the homestand. Tyrone Taylor's on his way back as well. Polanco's the one where there just isn't much of a timeline. And Kenny was telling us earlier, Luis Robert, a few weeks away still.
Yeah, they got to get it going. They got to get it going right before that All-Star break to give some clarity. And what do they do? You know, I mean, you got an owner that wants to win. They got an owner that wants to spend. But a lot's going to change after this year. So be interesting to see the direction.
I know you guys talk about the importance of those few games going into the break and then coming out of the break.
Yep, it's huge. I mean, you got teams who've been there, done that, and they understand, veteran players, how to get into the break and how to get out of the break. But then you see teams that lose ground on both ends of those because you just can't wait to get to the break, and then you're not ready when you get out of it.
Stahler get Wagaman and send this game to the last of the 8th. The Stars delivering for the Phillies tonight. Schwarber and Harper and Christopher Sanchez. Back in a moment on Fox. Well, this game seemed to be headed in this direction. Zach Short moves from shortstop to pitcher in a 12-run ball game and struggles to get that one to the plate. He has pitched in 6 games in his career with the Detroit Tigers back in 23 and gets the first out of the inning on 2 pitches. Today's telecast is sponsored by Geico. It feels good to Geico. Right after we talk about a shortstop pitching, we talk about what happened on this day in 1964. Jim Bunning, in his first year with the Phillies, throws a perfect game at Shea Stadium against the Mets. And Short doing his best Bunning impression. Perfect through 2 hitters. Hall of Famer. It was Father's Day in 1964. 2 outs on 3 pitches for Short. Mentioned he's pitched in 6 games in the majors. He's pitched in 2 games in the minors in his career. Stott turns on this ball and hits it foul. In the minors, he's given up 12 runs in 2 innings. Bad luck those 2 days. Got to get Duran some work here. Hadn't pitched in a week, so that would be the reason. Sometimes you go into a day with a guy like that and say no matter what.
Yeah, that's the worst part of the role. You never know when you're going to run into stretches. You can't really just come in to get work unless there's a long period of time. And I remember just in the short time I did it, and there was like 13 days go by. You need to get the work. You need to get in certain games. And then when you get in that game, there's 3 in a row after that. There's 3 saved opportunities. Baseball doesn't. You just never know when those games are going to add up.
In the air to left field. And Zach Short's got a 1-2-3 8th inning. Making it look easy out there for the Mets. So it will be Joan Duran here for the 9th inning, even in a blowout ball game. He's not pitched in a week. And a season where he's played through injury, come back from that, pitched really well, put up 0s in 10 of his last 11 games. Going to face a pinch hitter here, A.J. Ewing off of the bench for the Mets. The rookie's had a nice first impression. Grounds the first pitch from Duran foul. Garrett Stubbs into the game at first base, ending the night officially of Harper with his cycle. And Duran looking for the last 3 outs of this ball game. It was over early. Run in the first, 2 in the second, 8 in the third. Biggest run this season, biggest inning this season for the Phillies.
Duran was a great add for this Phillies club. If they're going to do anything and make a run, it's going to be at the end of the game. They've got this guy.
Full count on Ewing. Defense and speed right away. Lately, the rest of his offensive game has come around. In fact, the only guy on the Mets with a higher on base percentage than Ewing is Juan Soto, the 21-year-old who was at low A just a little more than a year ago. To third and Bohm. Wow, he's flying down that line. They're going to say that he's out. I think he's got a pretty good case that he was safe. And a bang bang play. Time for our sleeper pick, sponsored by Mattress Firm. I don't know how sleepy we were on these guys coming in, but got to pay the bills, John. And these guys did with 3 home runs from Schwarber and the cycle from Harper. First of his career here in his 15th year.
Well, there's no doubt that the power comes from the left side of the plate. That's why they're going to be in such need for that right-handed batter to create better balance, especially when you're thinking about left-handed relievers or left-handed starters facing the Philadelphia Phillies.
How about this? Second time in Major League history that teammates have had a 3 home run game and the cycle in the same game. 2 Hall of Famers in this city against the A's. The 1932 Yankees had Tony Lazzeri hit for the cycle, and Lou Gehrig hit 4 home runs that day. And then Schwarber and Harper here in 2026. Kenny You've got more on the 1932 Yankees for us?
Joe, that was one of the great teams in Major League history. Won 107 games in a 154-game season. Scored more than 1,000 runs. So, yeah, Gehrig, Lazzari, Ruth, those guys were pretty good.
Hear about the 27 Yankees, but that era continued for more than just that one season. Decades of dominance for the Yanks. And the Mets down to their last out here. In a 15-3 ball game, Luis Torrens climbs in. Phillies are going to move to 32-16 since Don Mattingly took over. Only the Brewers a better record in that time. Keep pace with the Braves in the division. Keep a hold of their spot in wild card standing at this point. With a long way to go. Getting close, though, to the halfway mark. 5 games away. Send Zach Wheeler to the mound tomorrow against David Peterson for the Mets. Another one of those pitchers the Mets have seen pitch at an all-star level before. Desperate for him to get back to it. After the 10-run clunker tonight from Freddie Peralta. Bouncing ball into center field and a 2-out hit from Torrens. And they announce pitcher Zach Short. Perfect ERA since coming to the Mets.
.60 miles per hour difference between Zach Short and Duran.
Feels weird to call them the same thing. Call them both pitchers in this inning. Three runs on 8 hits for the Mets, 15 runs on 17 hits for the Phillies. One thing Short has on Duran, though, he didn't give up a hit. That's going to do it. And the Phillies with an offensive explosion. Best offensive day of the season for the Phils. An historic day. Schwarber and Harper both go off.
Yeah, they prove their record when they get 5 or more runs. They're pretty good, and they've been pretty good at home. They love hitting here.
Stays that way here today. Harper's first career cycle. 3 home runs from Kyle Schwarber, running his major league leading total to 28 for the year. Coming up after the break, we'll get you down to the field. Chris Myers and the D-Train. Dontrell Willis will talk with some of the stars of the night with the post-game coverage.